But right now, people are saying great financial crisis 2.0 is around the corner.
Do it. I remember literally being such a noob telling my mortgage broker, listen, just figure out how this, I know I want this property. You need to figure out how to get it appraised for the number that I need.
Because I think there's a growing message that the existing loan products like DSCR loans are going to be just like subprime, blow up and cause a housing crash.
I was like, why are my friends getting these loans with zero money down? They're all but getting paid to close, and I got to bring 20 points to the table. This sucks. That means 2024 they're fine, 2025 they're fine, 2026 they're fine, but 2027?
Alrighty, folks, I want to have a conversation with somebody who's been in the real estate business about 20 years, like I have, who was borrowing money in the last cycle and has borrowed a lot of money in this cycle. The reason I want to have this conversation is neither the Lumberjack or I are mortgage brokers. Neither him or I have any secret access to pools of market data or tranches or any of this nonsense.
Nope.
But what I want to talk about is what was it like borrowing money, signing loan docs last experience? And what is it like this time? Because I think there's a growing, I don't know, message that the existing loan products like DSCR loans are going to be just like subprime, blow up and cause a housing crash. As someone who has no data behind the scenes, but has borrowed millions of dollars, I thought we should have an honest discussion because maybe there are some yellow and maybe some red flags. Buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing super awesome. I think this is a great topic to cover.
So the first thing we should do is we should just go back and say the Big Short was right. Right. The mortgage borrowing process in 05, 06, 07, 08 was laughable. Laughable.
Awful.
Right. I seriously remember signing a blank loan application and the broker telling me it was okay. Everybody's doing it. I'm like, I don't, you know, the answer was, we have your file. We'll fill it in for you. I'm like, I didn't know any different. Right. I think it was buying my fourth or fifth house. I'm not the mortgage broker. They're the licensor or whatever. Right. I'm like, I guess this is what we do.
What I got to do? I'll do it.
Yeah. It's like, I was just following the rules. And, that obviously went on in spades in lots of areas. What do you remember about the lending, borrowing money, I don't know, what is that, 15 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, it was 15, 16. Yep. Or 17. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I could never get those liar loans. I was really bummed. I was like, why are my friends getting these loans with zero money down? They're all but getting paid to close, and I got to bring 20 points to the table. This sucks.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, I probably, if I were in those shoes, I probably would have walked away from the two properties that I got.
Yeah.
Because it was I get it, like a business decision, like strategic default. Like here I would have done that. Here it would have been hard, but here I would have done it.
Oh, for sure.
And so in doing those deals, it was, when you're doing 20% down, like the bank was all but giddy and ready to do it. I remember literally being such a noob telling my mortgage broker, listen, just figure out how this, I know I want this property. You need to figure out how to get it appraised for the number that I need.
Yep. I'm
like, I'm an idiot. Like, that's so completely counterintuitive. No. Hit it hard, hit it low.
Yeah. Like, negotiate.
Right? That gives me the opportunity to negotiate. Instead, I'm just like, whatever it is, find value. Here's the opportunity, find value. And I'm like, and all I did was make sure that I bought this piece of crap that 13 years later, I still sold for a loss.
Yeah, think about that. You sold it for a loss after 13 years.
13 years.
Ugh.
Yeah. That thing was a huge loser. Oh my word.
But let's talk again. I want to go back to it because again, it is very important. If we're going to have an honest discussion about the mortgage experience now versus then, we have to understand then. So not only was lending stupid easy, leverage, right? You were talking about doing 20% down. I was doing 80-10-10s. So I was doing 80% first, 10% seconds, 10% down.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you were talking about a lot of owner occupants, or frankly, investors were lying. They were doing 100, 103%. Folks, people were getting loans for 103% and walking away with money.
Yep.
That was last time. So if we want to talk about the the collection of kindling that was set up last time that
Yeah.
became the great financial crisis. Because what right now people are saying great financial crisis 2.0 is around the corner.
Yeah.
I need you to understand just how wicked and massive the fraud and bad loans were.
Yeah.
What am I missing anything else about that time?
Pick your payment loans.
Oh, now illegal. Now you can't
Yep.
do them. Nagam
Yeah.
loans.
The pick your payments. So it was 2 years. And in that first 2 years, you could literally pick your payment and your payment could be as little as $1.
Yeah. They would shove it on the back of the loan
Correct.
because prices only went up.
Only ever. And
That was
so a
funny.
lot of people bought into those loans because they could live there for a year and a half and they would have spent $18
Yeah.
plus property taxes basically
Yeah.
to live in the home. But you're talking a few $100 a month. And then it was like, okay, well, now all of that is going to be refactored after the 2 years.
Yeah.
And now my payment's going to go up $1,000 or $1,500 a month. And I certainly can't afford that. And so why would I stay? And so
Yeah.
it was literally, that financial engineering is what you always have to be concerned about. And that's where I look at this market and there's just a whole lot less of that.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about last time, because it is important, you just hit it. They were, whatever reason, we just flipped to doing adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs.
Yep. Yep.
And again, the loan was fine from 06 to 07 to 08 when it was at the low. I don't remember a dollar payment, but I remember being 50% of regular payments and sticking the delta on the back. Either way, it's crazy, not good, and illegal now.
Yep.
But now let's fast forward to today, because there's a lot of people saying that DSCR loans are just like kind of the Alt A subprime loans of last time. And while I certainly see some similarities, I think we need to talk about the deltas first, because the DSCR loans that I have seen to date are at least 20% down.
Correct.
And many of them are 25 or 30% down. That's a hell of a lot different than 103%, loan to value ratios.
With
So
the
it's
exception.
equity.
So yes, it's absolutely. So a normal vanilla DSCR loan is not going to be the problem.
Right.
The pocket in DSCR that will be a problem are the CLTV loans.
Yes.
Those loans are going to be a problem because that's a combined loan to value, CLTV. And so there were a number of companies out there that offered 100% CLTV.
Ooh, 100.
100% CLTVs.
That's not good.
So you could do 50% from the seller, or excuse me, 50% from the bank, and then 50% from the seller. But here's the thing, Mike, does that create a financial crisis for the bank?
No, not at all.
What it does is
assuming they're in first position, but yeah.
Well, if it's a DSCR loan, from everything that I've seen, they're going to be in first. So the issue really becomes, I think that there's a lot of people that are holding paper on an asset. It's going to be near worthless when the market goes down 20% if it's a CLTV loan paper.
Yeah, that's the key in all of this. And the other thing that I think is wrong about DSCR loans is, maybe if you're watching this and you have this data, I would love to see it. I'd love to know the loan volume, not the dollar amount. I believe that exists out there. I want to know the number of transactions.
Yeah.
Because again, if you go back to the foreclosure crisis, I think we did like 6 million foreclosures in the last crisis, or 6.8, or some just ungodly number.
Yep.
But I have a sneaky suspicion we've done maybe 1 million or less of these kind of aggressive DSCR loans. And the other thing about the DSCR loans, and I actually have a couple. I have a couple of DSCR loans sub 4%, fixed 30 years.
Right.
So let's just say you took an aggressive DSCR loan in 2021, which I did, but the payment is fixed for 30 years at 399. I don't give a rat's ass if the value falls. I'm fine. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, that's the issue, right? Is that for them to unload your paper, they're going to have to pay.
Yeah, they're going to have to take a haircut, a discount, right? I'm not selling. Me, the owner, I'm good, right? If you want to discount the paper because you're not liquid, that's on you.
But when they sell that, they're going to take the haircut. When they take the haircut, that directly impacts their
bundle or whatever. Yeah. Their liquidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm trying to think about this DSCR loans, because again, I think I'm on record, right? I believe there's a bunch of financial engineers and syndications that are going to crush people and commercial real estate's done. I
Yep.
believe there's a bunch of people that thought Airbnb arbitrage and Airbnb was the quick path to wealth, and they're going to get hurt.
Done.
So I think there's a lot of pain coming to certain type of investors who thought real estate was easy. Dude, real estate investing is never easy.
No,
If anybody comes to you and promises easy, run away.
absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of Airbnbs that took DSCR loans that did Air DNA kind of rent forecast nonsense that are going to get smoked.
Yep.
And I do think there are some pockets maybe around Dollywood that are going to get smoked. But I don't think there's enough spread around the country that causes a housing crash. I just don't see it.
No, I mean, I still think it's going to be localized. I still think it's going to be, the question is, right, when the CDOs and the MBSs back in the late 2000 vintage stuff,
Yeah.
once you got to an 8% default rate, the fund, it was basically useless, right? The bond was
Yep.
useless.
Yep.
So the question is what is that rate of CLTV loans that any DSCR lender has? If they have, 100% of those CLTV loans, and then the DSCR lender that's 5% of their business, then even if they all default or majority default, then they're probably fine. If it was
but also they have more equity. Let's be clear. So the answer is not going to be 8% because the bundle last time was full up, right? There was probably 3% equity.
You're
was
exactly
fully
right.
loaded. Now we're 22%, 20%. I mean, there's a whole equity spread.
The other issue is that in most cases, Mike, they sold them as a bundle to insurance agencies.
Yeah.
So then the insurance agency, right, who's paying a servicer right now that's servicing the loan, they're going to be paying them to essentially service non-productive, money loss loans. So based on what the acquisition cost was, to the fund, to the insurance company, that's where, again, I see that for them, even if they have to foreclose on something, it's 50, 60, 70.
This is like the commercial stuff. This is like the commercial market with a slight twist. In the commercial market, we're going to hear about ungodly losses.
Yeah.
But a large percentage of that will be the equity.
Exactly. Well, and the only issue that you have is that anything that's second position, you're FUBAR. You're in. And so if I'm carrying paper, but it's in second position, like I'm going to do a seller finance deal right now.
Yep.
I am holding all the paper.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to hold the paper. I'm going to hold it
100%.
100% of the paper.
Right.
But 80% of the value of the deal.
Done.
Or 75.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But that's it.
Right.
Like, and I am the only one that owns the paper. No one else can come in behind me. I don't care who they are, what they want. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, when you look at the mortgage market today, I think it's fair to say we got over our skis in certain parts of the market. No question. Sure. I think doing Air DNA kind of forward-looking guidance nonsense is going to hurt a lot of people because today's different than yesterday. That's going to prove to be painful. I do think a lot of people have options. They can go midterm. They can go other options. So I don't think it's going to be this fire sale. I also think today we have a lot more equity in deals. I also think, and again, the numbers show it, a lot more fixed rate. So if you're an operator in 2020, 2021, and you got a loan at 5% or less, you have a lot more options than last time. Last time these payments would go from 1.9% to 9.9.
Yeah.
It's just like from affordable to unaffordable and like, oh, I'm out. That's not happening today. I think people will be able to certainly hold on longer. And the strategic default item will be a lot less because, again, there's equity, right? You may not get all of your equity back, but if you could sell for the same price, you'll get 12% back after commissions and all of that.
Yeah.
I think I just don't see the same mountain of pain than last time.
And if you look at the other mortgages too, right? You're talking about the adjustable rate mortgages. That's what was the downfall back in the late 2000s.
I'm going to be very clear. Adjustable rate, full up equity. It was that 100%. Toxic combination.
Yep. But so we look at things now and we say, okay, a majority of these went Fannie Freddie, so 3.5% down. Okay.
Yep.
That's so low down payment, 3.5% down. The issue is that only 2% of the deals being done were ARMs. 2% in 2020. It was like
that's a lifesaver. Yeah.
3 or 4% in
It's up to
21.
like 9% today, but
Right.
yes.
And so even now it's only 9% of the market. Back then, Mike, how much was it?
Oh, 51% was the worst year.
Exactly. It was
51.
51% of the deals being done were low down payment and adjustable rate mortgages.
Ugh.
This debt looks nothing like that. It's even now with a run up over the last 4 years, the run up, we are at 9% of ARMs.
Exactly.
The run up's 9%. That means, and so we have, so the stuff that was, 2% of the mortgage market on ARMs, that's going to be a fart. That no one's going to care.
Yeah, noise.
3 and 4% in 21 and 22.
Yeah, because 2% ARMs, there's actually good reasons. Like if you're if you're a wealthy guy or what, there are great reasons to get ARMs. So 2%'s like, that probably makes sense, right? But yeah.
But that's where you look at it and you look at what's the activity, the stuff that's being done now. Is it a little bit more scary? Sure.
Yes,
but let's think about it this way. It's usually 3 and 5 year debt. So it's 9% now in 2023. That means 2024, they're fine. 2025, they're fine. 2026, they're fine. But 2027, okay, maybe now rates are still high. You got something to worry about. So you have to hope that rates are going to adjust between now and then. And then that makes your call correct, not on median housing, but it makes your call correct on the next 10 years basically being a level flat.
Sideways.
Yeah, sideways.
Flat. Yeah, so I look forward to having these conversations. I spoke with the wonderful Melody. I think it's Melody Wright. I follow her on Twitter. She has experience in the mortgage industry. I look forward to having this detailed conversation with her. She's got insights that I frankly don't have, and experience I don't have. So I look forward to talking to Melody more about this in detail. But when I think about broad picture and I try to compare what I think is some very risky loans today with what was clearly risky loans last time, the volume is not even close. And near as I can tell, the risk level, not even close. But that said, there will be pain. I think the equity loss is going to be a lot worse than the debt loss of last time. It just makes sense. So, Matt, where can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and on Instagram. We're going to be doing lots of details about the jail project over the next 9 months. And Mike and I did a video on that. And live stream Sundays, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time for free.
And he will be a speaker at the mastermind or party or event in Vegas, February 17th and 18th, President's Day weekend. Thanks, buddy.
I will be.